Welcome back to the deep dive. I have to say, looking at the stack of notes we have for today, I feel like we are standing at the edge of a cliff, but, in a good way.
That is a very dramatic way to start a Tuesday, but I know exactly what you mean. There's a lot to get through.
We are looking at this curriculum for a language learning journey, and specifically, we're on day 20. Now, usually we just dive straight into the topic, grammar, vocab, you know the drill. But the source material for today starts with this incredibly aggressive, all-caps command. It literally says, stop scrolling.
It really grabs you by the collar, doesn't it?
It does.
It's not a polite suggestion. It's command.
It really is. And it says, if you have reached day 20, you have just hit a massive milestone. And before we even get into the word of the day, which is a whole fascinating rabbit hole in itself, I just want to park here for a minute. Why is the number 20 so significant? I feel like we see day 20 and just think, okay, cool, 10 more days till a month.
Right. It's just a number.
But the source is treating this like it's a ticker tape parade moment.
Well, it's a really valid question because on the surface, 20 is it's just a number. It's 2 tens. But if we actually look at behavioral psychology and the science of scale acquisition, day 20 is an incredibly important and also a very dangerous place to be.
Dangerous.
Yeah. You've probably heard that old pop psychology myth that it takes, exactly 21 days to form a habit?
Oh yeah, everyone says that. Just do it for 21 days and you're set for life.
Right. Well, that whole idea actually comes from a plastic surgeon named Maxwell Maltz back in the 60s. He just, he noticed his patients took about 21 days to get used to their new faces.
Seriously, that's where it comes from.
That's it. And the internet just took that one observation and ran with it. The reality of habit formation is, it's much messier. Some studies say it's more like 66 days, some say even longer, but here's why day 20 is so critical in language learning specifically. It's what I like to call the dropout cliff.
The dropout cliff, that sounds ominous.
It is. Think about it. When you start something new, day 1 through day 7, you are running on pure adrenaline.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
The shiny new toy phase.
Exactly. You've got that dopamine hitting your brain. You're buying the nice notebooks. You're downloading all the apps. You're telling your friends about it. It's exciting.
The honeymoon phase of learning.
That's it. Exactly. But by day 20, that shiny toy isn't shiny anymore.
It's work.
It is work. The initial motivation has completely evaporated, but you haven't been doing it long enough to see these massive fluent results yet. You aren't a total beginner anymore, but you certainly aren't an expert. You are stuck right in that messy middle. And this is the point where statistically something like 90% of people quit.
90%. Wow. So when the source yells stop scrolling and acknowledge this, they're basically saying, hey, you didn't fall off the cliff.
Precisely. If you're reading the day 20 notes, it means you've moved from relying on motivation, which is just a feeling, it comes and goes, to relying on discipline, which is a behavior. You've actually built a streak. And that momentum of consistency is, frankly, more valuable than any specific word you learned in the last 3 weeks.
That puts a whole new perspective on it. It's not just about learning English words, it's about resilience.
It absolutely is. And the source actually backs this up. It lists out this retrospective, a sort of arsenal of skills that the learner has built up to this point. I think we should actually look at this list because it's so easy to forget how much ground you can cover in just 20 days.
Let's do it. Okay, so the text recaps that the learner can now greet naturally, which, it sounds simple, but I guess it's foundational, right?
It's the key to the door. If you can't greet someone, you can't even enter the room, socially speaking.
That's true. They've also mastered tricky vowel sounds. They can tell time and dates fluently, and they're using something called magic verbs.
Magic verbs is just such a great term for those high-frequency action words. But look at the practical stuff in that list, too. Ordering food politely, navigating streets, speaking to doctors. These are not abstract concepts from a textbook.
No, they're survival skills. The source says the learner has lived in the present moment and placed objects perfectly with prepositions.
See, that's what I love. It's not just about grammar rules.
And this phrasing is great, painting the world with colors and opposites.
Yeah.
It sounds so poetic, but it's actually very technical. It means they've learned adjectives, descriptors, spatial awareness.
Right. And the expert commentary in the source points out that this proves the learner isn't just studying English as a subject, like, I don't know, math or history. They're actually living in it. They're describing their routine. They're introducing themselves with confidence. They've built a functional identity in this new language.
Okay, so you have this whole toolbox. You've got the hammer, the screwdriver, the tape measure. You've survived the dropout cliff. But today, day 20, the source material introduces a new tool. And I have to be honest with you, when I first saw what the topic was, I felt a little, I don't know, cheated.
Cheated. How so?
Well, we've been talking about all these complex sentence structures and describing the world, and today's big topic is just one word, 3 letters. C-N. C-A-N. Just feels like we're going back to kindergarten. I could run, I could jump. Is this really a deep dive topic?
I completely get that reaction. It looks incredibly simple on paper. But let me ask you this. If you walked into a cafe in, say, London or New York, and you just said to the barista, "Give me coffee." Grammatically, you're correct, right? Subject, verb, object. But what actually happens?
I'd probably get a dirty look.
Yeah.
Or they might spit in my drink.
You'd get a dirty look or you'd get ignored. You see, you haven't broken a grammar rule, you've broken a social rule. And that is why can isn't just a vocabulary word, it's a social key.
Social key.
The source calls it the Swiss Army knife of everyday conversation, and I think that's a perfect analogy. Without it, you sound like a toddler or a tyrant. So we aren't just teaching a word today, we're teaching the nuance of agency and politeness.
Okay, I'm listening. A Swiss Army knife has all these different blades for different jobs. How does that actually apply to can?
Well, just think about a Swiss Army knife. It's got the main blade, a corkscrew, a nail file, maybe some tiny scissors. It's one single tool that opens multiple doors. Can works in exactly the same way. The source breaks it down into 4 distinct powers or doors that this one little word opens. Ability, requests, permission, and possibility.
That is a lot of heavy lifting for just 3 letters.
It is. And the mission for this whole deep dive is to move you from just, understanding the word can to using it with total confidence. Because if you mess this word up, you can accidentally sound either incompetent or just really rude.
The stakes are definitely higher than I thought.
Okay.
Let's unpack this. Let's look at the first blade on the Swiss Army knife. Power number 1, expressing ability.
Right. So this is the most fundamental use. The source defines this simply as I can do something. It's all about stating your capacity or your skill in the present moment.
The examples they give are very clear. I can swim very well.
Okay, now let's just pause on that for a second. I can swim. Notice it's not I am swimming.
Right. I am swimming means I'm literally in the water right now, getting wet.
Exactly. And it's also not I swim, which would imply a habit or a routine like I swim every Tuesday. I can swim is a statement of potential. It means I possess the skill to survive in water, whether I am currently in a pool or sitting right here in the studio. It's about a capability that you carry with you.
That's a really cool distinction. It's like an inventory of your character skills in a video game. She can speak 3 languages. She might be totally silent right now, but she has those languages in her inventory.
Exactly. It's a statement of competence. Look at the mechanic example the source gives. My father can fix any electronic item. That just paints this picture of reliability and skill. If you say, my father fixes electronics, well, that sounds like his job description. But if you say, my father can fix any electronic item, that's you boasting about his superpower.
I see the nuance now. It's the difference between occupation and talent. And then, of course, there's the classic musical example. Can you play guitar? Yes, I can.
Simple, direct, but the source also highlights the negative aspect here, which I think is actually really empowering psychologically. It gives the example, I can't drive a car yet.
Ooh, that yet does a lot of heavy lifting there.
It does so much, but even just the structure, I can't. It creates a clear boundary of your ability. It isn't shameful, it's just a factual statement of your current capacity. I can't drive? Okay, that's clear communication.
Yeah.
It prevents you from getting into a situation you can't handle.
So power 1 is all about me, what I can do, what I can't do, my skills. But the source moves pretty quickly to power number 2, which is where I think that Swiss Army knife metaphor really starts to shine.
Yeah.
This shifts the focus from me to we.
Yes.
Power number 2, the art of polite requests.
This is where can becomes that social lubricant we were talking about. The source identifies this as the most common polite way to ask for an action.
And this goes right back to your coffee shop example. Instead of demanding something, you're asking for it.
Precisely. In language learning, especially for beginners, there is a huge risk of sounding rude just because you don't know the polite structures. We call this face theory in linguistics, this idea of saving face, both for you and the other person. If you just say, help me with this bag, that's an imperative. It's a command. You're actually threatening the other person's autonomy.
It does sound a bit aggressive, like I'm the boss and they're my employee or something.
It does. But just add can to the front of that sentence. Can you help me with this bag? Suddenly, the whole tone shifts completely. By asking, can you? You're technically asking about their ability. Are you physically able to help me? But what you're doing socially is acknowledging that they have a choice. You're respecting their agency.
That's fascinating. So it's a soft ask?
It's the ultimate soft ask. The source breaks this down into some really relatable scenarios. So you've got the physical help, can you help me with this bag? And then there's the academic or work request. Can you send me the notes, please?
That is a classic student or colleague interaction. And notice, it's asking for information or, a digital asset, not a physical thing.
Then we get to tangible objects. Can I borrow your pen?
This one is crucial. You aren't just taking the pen, you're acknowledging ownership. Can I? It implies a temporary state. I'm borrowing this, but I totally respect that it's yours and I'll give it back.
And this one is my favorite because it's about changing the environment itself. Can I open the window?
That is such a great example of social awareness. Because obviously you are physically able to open the window. You have the strength. You don't need help. So why on earth would you ask?
Because you're sharing the air, you are asking, is it acceptable to everyone here for me to change our shared environment? If you just walked over and yanked it open, you're signaling that your personal comfort is more important than everyone else's. Can I open the window? Signals that you're a considerate member of the group.
And finally, there's one that is absolutely vital for anyone learning a new language, which the source points out. Can you speak a bit slower, please?
That is the lifesaver phrase. If you're learning English, you need that in your back pocket at all times. It turns a moment of total confusion, where you might feel stupid or lost, into a manageable, polite request for adjustment. It empowers the learner to actually control the flow of information coming at them.
Okay, so we've got ability, which is I can swim, and requests, can you help?
Now we move to power number 3, navigating permission.
This one is very closely related to requests, but the nuance is just slightly different. The source distinguishes this as seeking approval, usually from an authority figure or some kind of gatekeeper.
Right. Now, I have to bring up the old school teacher joke. I think everyone who grew up in an English-speaking classroom has heard this one. You raise your hand and ask, can I go to the bathroom? And the teacher says, with that really smug look,
Oh, I know this one.
I don't know, can you?
The classic pedantic teacher.
Meaning, do you have the physical capacity to walk to the bathroom? And then they make you rephrase it. May I go to the bathroom? Right. And for a very long time, there was this super strict rule that can is only for ability and may is only for permission. But language evolves. The source material here is very pragmatic about this. It recognizes that in modern everyday English, unless you are speaking to the Queen or maybe a very, very strict judge, can is the standard way to ask for permission.
That's a relief.
We don't need to get hung up on may I. Can I is perfectly acceptable and much more common.
Good. I always feel a bit stiff saying may I. Feel like I'm in a period drama or something.
You can sound a little bit formal, yeah. Can I just strikes the right balance. And the examples here are all about boundaries. Can I come in? You're asking to enter a private space.
Can I sit here? That's claiming personal space in a public area, a very common one on a bus or a train.
Then the workplace one, which is where the hierarchy really shows up. Can I leave early today?
That is a high stakes question. That's not like asking for a pen.
It is. That involves a contract. You are asking a superior to let you alter the agreed upon contract of your time. If you just walked in and said, I'm leaving early today, that's basically a resignation letter.
Right.
But can I leave early is a negotiation.
And can we use your Wi-Fi? The modern equivalent of asking your neighbor for a cup of sugar.
It really is. It's all about access to resources. So, okay. Ability, request, permission. That brings us to our fourth and final power, which I think is the most abstract one. The source calls this one understanding possibility.
This one feels different. The first three were all about people. Me, you, us, our actions. This one feels like it's about, I don't know, the universe.
Yes, that's a great way to put it. This moves away from personal agency, what I can do, and moves into describing the nature of the world around us. It's about general truths and potential situations.
The source calls this predicting the world.
Another great phrase for it.
The examples are very atmospheric. It can rain heavily in July.
Now, compare that for a moment to it will rain. Will is a prophecy. It's a guarantee. It's going to happen. It can rain is a risk assessment. It just means the conditions are right for rain. It has the potential to happen.
That makes sense. Then we have a geographical one. In winter, it can get very cold in Kulu.
Right. So that's stating a general truth about a location. It's not a weather forecast for tomorrow. It's a fundamental characteristic of the place. If you go to Kulu in the winter, you should be prepared.
And then, my favorite, food recommendations. You can find good momos near the market.
This is so colloquial and so natural. You can find just means they are available. It's expressing the possibility of a successful search for dumplings. It's not, you must find them. It's more like, the possibility exists for you to be very happy with momos over there.
And finally, a warning. Accidents can happen if you drive fast.
A classic cause and effect. It's not a threat. It's a statement of logical possibility. So, do you see now how incredibly flexible this one word is? In a single conversation, you could literally say, I can drive, that's ability. Say, can I borrow your car? That's permission. It can get slippery on the roads, that's possibility. So can you please give me the keys? That's a request.
Wow. You just use all four in one breath. That really does prove the Swiss Army knife theory. You can build an entire complex interaction around this one simple verb.
It absolutely does. It's the skeleton key of conversation.
Okay, so we know what it does. Now we need to talk about how to actually build it. Let's get into section 5 of our deep dive. The mechanics of can. The grammar, the structure.
The source claims this is super simple. Is it really? Or is that just, teacher talk to make us feel better?
Yeah. No, in the grand scheme of English grammar, yes. It is delightfully simple, but it's also weird. I like to call can and words like must, may, should, the rebel verbs.
Rebel verbs. I like the sound of that. Why are they rebels? How are they rebelling? They just refuse to follow the rules that every other verb in the English language follows. They're total nonconformists. The source highlights a golden rule here. No two.
And this is a huge, huge trap for learners, isn't it?
It is the single biggest trap. Because think about how we first learn verbs. We learn the infinitive form, to swim, to eat, to run. So when your brain wants to combine can with another verb, it logically tries to keep that to. You think, I want to swim, so it feels natural to say, I can to swim.
It makes sense if you're just translating word for word from your native language.
It makes perfect sense, but it is 100% incorrect. Can is a modal verb, a rebel verb, and it demands what we call the bare infinitive. It's like it's allergic to the word to. You have to just cut the to out completely. I can swim, I can go, I can eat.
So rule number 1, the rebel verb hates the word to. What's rule number 2?
Rule number 2 is the consistency rule, or what I like to call the no S rule. Usually, English is a total nightmare in the third person, right? I run, you run, but he runs, she runs. That little S is the rule that every good little verb follows.
Right. You always have to remember to add that little S. It's one of the first things you learn to hate in English class.
But can just refuses to change. It completely ignores the subject. It is I can, you can, she can, he can, we can, they can. It never changes. No conjugation, no S.
And that is a relief. That's one less thing to worry about. You don't have to think about who's doing the action. The word just stays the same.
Exactly. She can dance, not the incorrect. She can dances. If you put an S on the end of can, you just destroy the entire sentence.
Okay, so the rules are simple. Now let's talk about flow. The source puts a big emphasis on contractions. It calls them a must-use for natural spoken English.
And this is so important. This is where we move from just correct textbook English to natural spoken English. If you say, I cannot come, you sound like a robot.
Or a Victorian judge.
Or a Victorian judge sentencing someone, I cannot allow this. In real life, we just smash the words together. Cannot becomes can't.
The source explicitly drills this pronunciation flow. I can, you can, he, she can. It's all about the rhythm of the language.
And this is really important for listening comprehension too. Often, native speakers don't even really pronounce the can clearly. We use what's called a schwa sound. It's a very weak vowel. We don't say I can do it. We say I can do it. It's very fast. I can swim. I can go.
But the negative can't usually gets a clear stress, right? You emphasize that one.
Spot on. That's the big tell. If you hear a hard, stressed vowel, it's almost always negative. I can't do it. The positive is soft and fast. The negative is hard and stressed.
That's a brilliant tip for listening. So if you miss the T sound at the end, just listen for the stress.
That's the key.
Now, the source material specifically calls out some common Indian learner mistakes. I think these are valuable for anyone, really, because they highlight these logic traps that we all fall into. We already touched on the first one, I can to speak English, which of course needs to be, I can speak English.
Right. Always cut the two.
But look at this next one. Can you helping me?
Ah, the continuous trap. This happens because the learner is thinking, I need help now, right this second, so I should probably use the ing form, helping. It makes perfect sense logically, but grammatically can always requires the base form of the verb. Never helping. Always help. Can you help me?
And the third common mistake they list is, do you can swim?
This is a classic. In English, for most questions, we absolutely need a helper verb like do. Do you like pizza? Do you play football? So the learner is correctly applying that logic here. Do you can?
They're just trying to follow the standard question rule they've been taught.
Exactly. But remember, can is a rebel. It doesn't need do. It is the helper verb. It helps itself. It's strong enough to stand alone. You just flip the subject and the verb. You can swim becomes can you swim. You do not need to add do.
So do you can swim is out. Can you swim is in.
Precisely. It's a case of overcomplicating a beautifully simple structure. You just need to keep it stripped down. Can plus subject plus verb. That's it.
Okay, this is great. Let's move to section 6, real-life application. The source gives us 4 different scenarios to see this in action. I want to walk through these because they show that versatility we talked about, but I don't want to just read them out. Let's kind of role play them a little bit. I'll be the person asking, you be the person responding.
So let's do it.
All right. Scenario 1 is domestic life. The grocery run. The context is a mom talking to her child. I'm the mom. Can you bring the groceries from the market?
Yes, I can. I can also get some fresh fruits.
Okay, let's cut there. I want to analyze that.
Yeah.
You didn't just say yes.
No, if I just said yes, it's a little passive, it's fine. But by saying yes, I can, I'm clearly affirming my ability. But then I added, I can also get some fresh fruits. I used can proactively to offer more value, to add something to the task. It changes the child from just a passive instruction follower to an active, helpful participant in the household.
Right, it shows initiative. It's using can to upgrade the offer. Okay, good. Scenario 2, digital social life. The photo share, 2 friends messaging. I'm the annoying friend who didn't take any pictures at the party. Can you send me the photo?
Sure, I can send it right now.
The word sure is doing a lot of work at the beginning there.
It is. Sure. Sets the positive, friendly tone. It means I'm happy to do it. And then I can send it right now confirms my ability and my immediate intent. It's perfect text message etiquette, speed and confirmation.
Scenario 3, workplace or college. The explanation. This one feels a bit more vulnerable. I'm the colleague who's totally lost. I can't understand this slide. Can you explain?
Of course I can explain it slowly.
I really like how that whole exchange plays out. I started with a confession. I can't.
Which takes a lot of courage. Admitting a gap in your knowledge, especially at work, is hard. But you use the negative I can't to set the stage perfectly, and then you immediately pivoted to a request. Can you explain? You put the ball in my court.
And your response was so comforting. You didn't just say yes. You said, of course, and then you reassured me that you have the ability to fix my problem. I can explain it.
It just de-escalates the stress of the situation.
Definitely. Okay, finally, scenario 4. Professional boundaries. The early exit. An employee asking a boss. I'll be the employee trying to sneak out a little early. Can I leave 30 minutes early today?
Yes, you can, but you have to finish the report first.
Oof, the big but.
The classic conditional permission. The boss validates your request, yes you can, so you feel heard and respected, but then attaches a condition. This is negotiation 101. The can opens the door, but the but sets the price of entry.
It's fascinating how much social dynamic is packed into these really simple exchanges. It's not just about grammar. It's about power dynamics, kindness, and negotiation.
That's language. It's never just about the words. It's always about the relationships between the people speaking them.
Speaking of relationships, the source includes something called a badminton dialogue study. This is a role-play breakdown that puts everything together. This really is like a game of tennis or badminton, I guess. Let's walk through the steps of this conversation line by line and really dissect what's happening beneath the surface.
Let's serve it up.
Okay, step 1 is the invitation. Person A says, hey, can you play badminton this evening?
A standard request for a shared activity. Very simple. I am testing both your availability and your ability.
Right. Step 2, the refusal and pivot. This is the tricky part. Person B replies, I can't today, I have a family function, but I can come tomorrow.
Okay, let's just pause here for a second. This is a very high-level social skill that we call the soft refusal. If you just said, I can't today, and stop there, what happens to the conversation?
It feels like a rejection. It feels like a door slamming shut in my face.
Exactly. Even if you say it politely, a flat no just creates a dead end. It kind of signals a lack of interest in the friendship itself. But by saying, I can't today, but I can come tomorrow, you're doing something absolutely brilliant.
The pivot.
Yes. You're shifting the rejection from the person to the calendar. You're not saying, I reject you. You're saying, I reject Tuesday. And then you immediately offer an alternative ability, I can come tomorrow, to keep that connection alive. That but is a bridge to the future.
It reminds me of the golden rule of improvisational comedy, the yes and rule. This is like the social no but rule.
That is a brilliant comparison. Conversation is improv. If you don't offer that but, you've effectively killed the scene.
Okay, so step 3, the equipment request. The friend accepts the pivot. Great. Can you bring your racket? Mine is broken.
So now we're right back to a request for resources. The friend is capitalizing on the new agreement to ask for a small favor.
Step 4, the confirmation and logistics. The response is, sure, I can bring an extra one. Can we meet at 6 p.m.?
So we have a confirmation of ability. I can bring one, followed immediately by a new request, this time about logistics. Can we meet? It's a confirmation and a question all in one.
And finally, step 5, the closing. Perfect. See ya.
And there you go. In 5 short lines, they have navigated an invitation, a rejection, a rescheduling, a favor, and a time confirmation. And the entire thing was powered by can and can't.
It really drives home why the source calls it the Swiss Army knife. You couldn't have that conversation so efficiently without it.
You could try, but it would be so clunky and awkward. Imagine saying, are you able to play badminton? No, I am not able today. Do you possess an extra racket? Is it possible for us to meet at 6 p.m.? It sounds like 2 robots talking. Can makes it human.
So we have the theory, we have the grammar, we have the real-world examples, and we've dissected the social dynamics. Now the source pivots everything back to the listener. It's time for Section 8, the practice, challenge, and homework.
This is that stop scrolling energy coming right back at you. We've done all the talking. Now it's your turn to do the walking.
The host in the source challenges the listener to pause, which we can do metaphorically right now, and visualize the practice challenge.
Yeah.
The prompt is this. Think of one real ability you have, one request you need to make, one permission you need to ask, and one possibility relevant to your life.
It's all about personalization. Don't just read the sentences in the book. Make them true for your life right now.
And the source provides some model sentences to kind of inspire this. I like this one. I can cook very good, Maggie. I can't bake cakes, though.
So relatable and honest. It's an ability and a disability in one sentence.
It is. Then we have, can you send me the notes from yesterday's class? Can I join the call a bit late? It can snow heavily in Kulu next month. And I like this last one. I can help you with English practice if you want.
It's a great offer, and it covers all 4 bases. Ability, request, permission, possibility. Perfect.
And then there's the golden cheat sheet recap, just a quick fire summary.
Ability, request, permission, possibility. That's your mantra for the day.
And finally, the assignment for day 20. This is very specific, and frankly, it looks like a real workout. Number 1, writing. Write 12 sentences mixing all 4 ways of using can.
Okay, that's standard.
Number 2, recording. This is the scary one for a lot of people. Record yourself for 90 to 120 seconds describing 4 abilities, 2 disabilities, things you can't do, 2 requests, and 2 permissions.
And I want to emphasize why recording is on this list. It's uncomfortable. I know nobody likes the sound of their own voice, but it is absolutely vital. When you speak in your head, you sound perfect. You sound like a native speaker. But when you record yourself and listen back, the truth comes out.
That's where you catch yourself saying, can you helping? Or I get to swim?
Exactly. The playback doesn't lie. It is the only way to really audit your own accent and your own grammar in real time.
Then there's number 3. Social. Use can or can you in one real conversation today.
Now that's the scariest part for most learners, taking it out of the safety of the classroom and into the real world. But that is where the learning actually cements itself. If you go up to a stranger and ask, can you tell me the time? And they understand you and answer you, the dopamine hit you get from that one successful interaction is worth 10 hours of studying.
And finally, number 4, community. Share a comment online with one ability and one request.
Accountability. Putting it out there for others to see and react to, it makes it real.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into day 20, the source teases what's coming up next. Day 21 is the mega quiz.
A mid-journey review. It's going to cover everything from day 1 all the way through day 20.
So today really is the final piece of the puzzle before the big test. The source emphasizes that can is all about opening doors. The final message is keep asking, keep offering.
I really like the sign-off sentiment from the original hosts, Jays and Isha. They say, "We're incredibly proud of you." It returns to that theme of consistency that we started this whole conversation with. If you have made it to day 20, you genuinely should be proud of yourself. You've climbed that cliff.
Absolutely. Can is such a small word, but it represents agency. It represents the ability to affect the world around you, to ask for what you need, and to offer what you have.
And that, at its heart, is the essence of communication.
So here's a final thought for you to mull over as you go about your day. We talked a lot about can as ability and permission, but I want you to think about the psychological side of this word. Think about how often you stop yourself from doing something, not because you can't, meaning you physically lack the ability, and not because you aren't allowed, meaning you lack permission, but simply because you think you can't.
Oh, that's deep. The self-imposed limitation, the mental block.
Exactly. Sometimes I can't. It's just a story we tell ourselves to stay safe. I can't apply for that job. I can't speak to that person. Is it really a lack of skill? Or is it just fear wearing a mask that says can't?
That is a really powerful distinction. Learning to distinguish between I am unable and I am afraid.
So maybe the real homework isn't just about grammar. Maybe it's about auditing your own life. Where are you saying I can't when actually you can?
That's a fantastic place to leave it.
Thanks for listening to The Deep Dive. Good luck with your sentences. Good luck with the mega quiz tomorrow. And we will catch you next time.
See you then.